Isn't it about time these assholes merge these two logos into one and spare us the 45 seconds it takes to suck their own cock?
Oh, please don't tell me you're one of those people that think Disney and Pixar are practically the same company. Like, Pixar is still making quality movies, while Disney recently has been slacking off on that, not including Encanto.
Dory cupcake!
Cupcake. Fish hugging.
Jeremy points things out on a screen cliche.
Jesus, another fish has gone missing? This makes me feel like the NSA dude at the end of Hunt for Red October. You've lost another submarine?
I mean, technically Dory was already missing during the events of Finding Nemo. This movie is about her finding her parents, which begs the question why this movie is called Finding Dory. I kind of get it, she's finding herself in a way, but still.
Hi, I'm Dory. Can you please help me?
Finding Nemo opened with a gut-punching emotional scene of loss of life, setting the urgency tone early. This movie opens with a scene of a forgetful child, then cuts straight to her being alone. Movie could have done itself tons of favors by showing us the actual moment Dory lost track of her family, but instead we just gloss that over.
I think that's actually a genius move from the writers. Dory's most famous trait is that she has short-term memory loss, therefore she immediately forgets things. The movie is putting us in Dory's perspective. We don't know how she lost her parents, just like Dory herself. The fact that we open with her being with her parents and then cut to her in the middle of nowhere is meant to be heartbreaking because she doesn't remember what happened to get her there. It's really similar to how Memento was structured.
The idea that fish come up to the surface to stare at the stars, that's actually laughably stupid, but whatever. Good Milky Way shot, Pixar. You're perfect.
How is that any more stupid than fish having human-like intelligence and wielding two forward-facing eyes? You know that's not what fish are actually like in the real world, right? You said it yourself when you said Finding Nemo. The filmmakers took some liberties with fish's anatomy in order to tell a story.
A white boat! They took my son!
Finding Nemo Origins.
So what's the sin now? The fact that we're seeing a scene from the first movie from Dory's perspective? What's wrong with that? How does that affect the film's quality?
A whole year? Making it a whole year is going to make it very hard for me to swallow that Dory will be successful in finding her parents.
I'm struggling to see how those two things are related.
Also, you're telling me that after the original Finding Nemo adventures, she's managed to stick around, but then a whole year after that she's going to wander off? Seriously?
She didn't wander off. She just got a little too close to the manta rays during their migration, which caused her to remember her parents, and that kickstarts the plot. Why are we lying about a movie that everyone has seen? It made over $1 billion, for Pete's sake.
I thought there were 3 sharks.
No, there were definitely 4.
But last time you told it there were 3.
Movie decides Marlin is a compulsive liar, which was not a trait he displayed prior to this movie, but whatever. Sequels gotta find humor where they can.
Come on, I really hope you're not being serious. Marlin isn't lying. He simply misremembers how many sharks there were. You know, because it's been a whole year? Didn't you just complain about that time jump in the last 2 sins?
You almost missed the field trip!
Even though Dory got you up early.
This movie has shown a bunch of times that Dory tends to get sidetracked a lot. So that definitely happened.
Exactly.
Well, I am so honored. I have never been a teaching assistant before.
Mr. Ray, you got help.
Marlin, who has absolutely nothing to do, gives up on trying to tell Dory she can't go on this field trip after one misunderstanding. But I guess he's busy and all, what with all the many anemone amenities back at home.
I'm sorry, I have to listen to that again.
All the many anemone amenities. All the many anemone amenities.
Okay, that was enough to make me laugh and take a sin off. I know it's stupid, but I don't do it that often anyway.
I remembered something!
Luckily, this class Mr. Ray taught today contained exactly the sort of clues Dory needed to kickstart her journey. And she doesn't forget them within seconds, making her memory in this movie super convenient.
Don't think of it as convenient. Instead, think of it as Dory has to remember her parents eventually. We are simply seeing that moment.
Somewhere out there is my family.
It's a massively ginormous ocean, though. Do you really think you can strike finding a missing fish gold twice?
That's a fair point, but unlike last time where they had to figure out where Nemo even was, Dory immediately remembered the location, the Jewel of Morro Bay, California. That's a good place to start, I'd say.
You can get us all the way across the ocean, right?
No, but I know a guy.
Good thing it's been a whole year and these turtles are migrating again, huh?
Yes it is. Now, what's the sin?
Sequel to Finding Nemo perpetuates the myth of clownfish being able to hold on to turtle shells during this speedy tubular journey.
And this is the same fish that literally crossed the ocean to find his son. But no, a fish holding onto a turtle shell is apparently more ridiculous.
Dory somehow doesn't see or doesn't react to this scary giant-ass eyeball that appears right in her field of view while Marlin is talking.
Are you kidding me right now? Jeremy claims that Dory isn't reacting to this giant octopus while showing her reacting.
20,000 Leagues Under the Entertainment Value.
Arbitrary ancient book reference.
Physics Ex Machina.
No.
Where we believe in rescue, rehabilitation, and release.
Except all the fish who can help Dory find her parents. They aren't released yet. That would be silly.
Because it's not their time yet.
Why would a Marine Life Institute in California have a picture on the wall of the Australian dentist's niece from the first movie?
Jeremy is taking an Easter egg, literally. Sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes they're just there for fun. I mean, how do you explain the wooden Pizza Planet truck in Brave? Unless you subscribe to the Pixar theory that suggests the witch is actually a time traveler. But hey, that's just a theory.
If I just take your tag, I can take your place on the transport truck.
How the hell does he think he's getting this tag off? This is one of those super impossible cable ties. Now, maybe it's because he's an octopus. He doesn't know that. But he does know something about Cleveland and understands human speech, so you can forgive us for being assholes about that.
Doesn't Dory later just take this tag off? You've seen this movie already, right? It's not that tight, which is a legit sin.
I suffer from short-term memory loss.
It's kind of a drag. She has to keep saying this over and over because it makes the movie kind of boring.
Isn't that because she has to keep saying it to characters she hasn't met before? Isn't that understandable enough?
We're supposed to be releasing the octopus back to the ocean today.
Amazing this octopus was planning his prison break on the very day Dory got captured, and these two could start some sort of symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, and coincidences aren't sins. Practically every single plot and every single story wouldn't happen without coincidences. So just pointing them out and counting them as sins is a futile effort.
Destiny. Destiny?
Destiny is not only the name of a whale Dory knows, but the mantra by which this screenplay was written.
And it's also the mantra in which The Matrix was written, and that's still your favorite movie, right?
Dory knocks over the coffee pot without breaking it or making a noise, and absolutely nobody will wonder why a f***ing coffee pot is suddenly here.
Good point on the coffee pot somehow not breaking, but how do you know that nobody would wonder why it's there? We don't see this pot again throughout the rest of the movie, so someone most likely did get confused seeing it. We just didn't see it because it's not important to the story.
Also, this octopus is so James Bond, I'm wondering how he hasn't broken out of this place on his own yet, or found and put himself in whatever tank he's trying to get to.
To get to Cleveland, though, he needs a tag. And since he recently broke out, it makes sense he hasn't found one until now with Dory.
And then this person absentmindedly throws a regal blue tang out into the whale shark tank. I mean, people look at things, right?
You don't, though.
You and I were friends!
No.
We'd talk through the pipes when we were little. We were pipe pals!
Because aquarium rehab places like this always have pipes connecting each exhibit for easy marine life communication, of course.
Actually, this is exactly how aquariums work in real life.
Also, no, you weren't pipe pals. You f***ing weren't. F*** you were not. Dory's little voice couldn't carry that far, or even help Horton hear a hoot, much less be pipe pals with a f***ing whale shark.
So, you just found this unbelievable? In a world where there are sharks that just decided to not eat fish?
An ocean exhibit.
A fish with a memory problem, a shark with an eyesight problem, Nemo's weak fin. It's almost as if these movies think disabilities are easy joke fodder.
When was Nemo's lucky fin ever treated like a joke in either movie?
All you have to do is imprint with her, mate.
Oh man, they dragged Twilight Breaking Dawn 2 into this, didn't they?
Arbitrary movie reference. And it being a dadgum Twilight movie.
Hey movie, how did these two get out of the tank and across the massive human walkway to hide in the stroller? I know you glossed over it, but I cannot.
Didn't you earlier question how Hank hasn't escaped already by saying he's so James Bond? Now you're wondering how he got to a baby stroller?
Still not clear.
These assholes watching two amazingly large sea creatures are not in any way dumbfounded at this kind of behavior right now. Just the beluga's posture alone, with its fin in the air, would make me want to call the park authorities.
Isn't that why they're all standing there wondering what's happening?
The world's most powerful pair of... I know that. Why do I know that?
No idea, since you were just a little baby when you left, and I can't think of one reason why you'd ever see that sign while in captivity.
Dude, that world's most powerful pair of glasses exhibit was literally right across from the open ocean where Dory lived with her parents. Come on, man.
This feels sort of like the traffic cone thing in Toy Story 2, where miraculously no one is observant, and no one even as much as walks by this tree with a pail of fish in it.
And as I told you years ago when I sinned you sinning Toy Story 2, people were most likely curious to see all those traffic cones moving. We just didn't see it.
That's it! You have wasted my time!
Wait, no.
That transport truck leaves at dawn and I'm not missing it, so give me your tag!
I honestly can't argue with a single thing this guy says here.
Jeremy sins something he agrees with, cliche.
Why would a spiky fish like this be put in the children's touch pool? Do you want to get sued? Because this is how you get sued.
That is a sea urchin, and they literally are placed in touch pools at real aquariums. In fact, I did a lot of digging, and it seems like purple ones are often in touch pools and are safe, albeit with some instruction and warning.
She remembers the Just Keep Swimming song from her childhood and decides that is advice for her current situation. And despite all logic, it apparently is.
What other suggestions do you have?
She would just look at the first thing she sees and...
It's at this point Jeremy lost his ability to sigh. This is a sigh moment.
But the movie thoroughly extinguished all of them in the first 30 minutes, so I've been forced to do it. Sigh.
Oh, hello, Chris. Has anyone told you your mic isn't great? I mean, mine isn't either, but do you see how small my channel is? You're rich, and you couldn't get a quality microphone?
Nemo, hold on to me!
Fishix.
I could totally use that Sin for this dumb pun.
The tag. Right.
This tag comes off way too easily, considering what we know about it, which is way too much.
Again, I agree that it comes off too easily, but shouldn't you have then gone back and deleted that previous sin?
My parents were actually down there.
Probably not, actually, but whatever.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
That why you're not in quarantine?
Quarantine?
Yeah, that's where they took all the blue tanks.
The ex machinas in this movie could fill a whole series of Harry Potter novels.
You really don't know what a deus ex machina means, do you?
You've shown me how to do stuff I never dreamed of doing. Outsmarting sharks and jumping jellyfish.
Yeah, those would be called lucky, not some sort of amazing intellectual survival skills.
But Marlon's point is that they wouldn't have made it through all those obstacles without Dory. Think about it. With the sharks, Dory is able to get a missile to launch out of a submarine, distracting Bruce from eating them. Then with the jellyfish, if she didn't bounce on top of them, Marlon wouldn't have realized that the tops don't sting them, and that gave him the idea of bouncing on their tops so they could escape the jellyfish.
You made all that happen.
Did she? I think the sea turtles, the pelican, and the dentist's tankfish deserve a lot more credit than you're giving them here. I mean, did you even see the last movie?
Yeah, I am so glad I watched both movies back to back. You cut out Marlon saying that Dory helped find his son, and she very much did. She read those diving goggles that gave them Nemo's location. She then asked for directions from John Ratzenberger, which then led them to the EAC, where the sea turtles helped them get closer to Sydney. Then Dory communicated with a whale, and that whale brought them to Sydney where Nemo was. Granted, the tank gang deserves credit for getting Nemo out of the dentist's office and into the ocean, but Dory also found him first when he was there, and after forgetting for a minute, that led her to returning him to his father. Dory deserves most of the credit in helping to find Nemo. Now I'm wondering if you saw the last movie.
Who do you think made sure all these open-topped fish tanks were in the right order for this progression of jumps? The screenwriter or God?
What do you mean, in the right order? How does that matter at all? These tanks are being loaded onto the truck. Of course they'd be side by side like this.
I want to know what kind of Marine Life Institute leaves a fucking vat of mop water lying around during working hours when the janitors aren't even here yet.
I don't have a response to this sin, but I want to point out that the sin counter changed about a second after the ding sound.
Also, let's not...
See?
Them. Can you be more specific? My them.
All movie long, Dory's been talking about her parents and calling them by name, but suddenly she forgets Marlin and Nemo and is fucking clueless because the plot needs her to be.
Although it is rare, it is possible that trauma can cause brief amnesia. Considering Dory just found out that her parents might be dead... Do I even need to finish this sentence?
Dory gets out to the open sea and is so unsure of what to do that I'm positive she's about to accidentally herself into her parents.
Not exactly, considering we soon find out that Jenny and Charlie intentionally stayed in this specific spot, waiting for Dory to find them.
Dory was thrown out of the quarantine and down a sewer grate and funneled out into the sea, where she couldn't remember anything except what would Dory do. Miraculously, this leads her to some killing, which leads her to a magic seashell, which leads her to her parents, who just happen to be here all these years. I'm all for Dory doing this without help, but this officially broke me watching this movie. It's way too lucky. Everything in this movie is way too lucky.
We're talking about a character that has short-term memory loss. What did you expect from a movie like that?
Also, all shells lead to the drowned radial tire. Wait, what?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, the parents put this together and hung out here for years, just in case Dory somehow came here. This is like the parable of the talents, and these parents are the ones that buried their talent, which did not impress the master. It's a big f***ing ocean, y'all. Last movie we saw what a real parent does when a child goes missing. He goes looking for them.
The difference is that Nemo was kidnapped by a diver. There was no obvious way for him to escape, so Marlon had to come and find them. Dory, on the other hand, was pulled through a pipe and fell into the ocean, meaning she could still find her way home. Besides, what makes this more powerful is that Jenny and Charlie are aware that Dory has short-term memory loss, but they knew that she would eventually remember them and come and find them.
Why do you think we stayed put here all these years?
Instead of going to the MLI and finding a way back in the exhibit, which would have been way more logical considering the problem-solving skills of fish in these movies, but f*** it.
What? How would that have been more logical? Dory was pulled through a pipe and thrown into the ocean. Why would they return to their exhibit? What do you think they would have done there? And if you're trying to say that they should have stayed there so Dory could find them there, need I remind you that she was a literal child when she was lost? They thought she would find them a lot sooner than she actually did.
Oh man, if only there was a way to stop traffic!
This is something that I highly doubt a beluga whale, a whale shark, and a blue tang will be able to figure out, considering this is human stuff they've never encountered. But Dory gets the bright idea to use these ex machinators to stop traffic.
Yeah, you don't know what Deus Ex Machina means.
Whoa, whoa. Dory, honey, you're not leaving us again.
This is actually exactly like Marlin doubting Nemo at the climax of the first movie. This shit is so paint by numbers even Bob Ross looks down on it. From heaven.
I mean, they haven't seen Dory in literal years. They don't know what she's been up to all this time, so it makes sense that they'd be doubtful, just like Marlin was.
Becky! Becky, come back! We need your help! Becky! Dory, follow me!
But of course, she doesn't follow, because this movie is an aggressive dickhead to stuff like ending.
She almost did, though. Becky just flew out too fast. Is this really that hard to understand?
What is so great about plans? I never had a plan.
Thing that Andrew Stanton told the writers when this movie began production somehow finds its way into the script.
Insulting Andrew Stanton, one of the greatest writers of Pixar. This dude made WALL-E for Pete's sake, and he's currently directing Toy Story 5. And yes, despite my skepticism for that movie, Stanton being in charge at least gives me a bit of hope.
The best things happen by chance because that's life.
Is this movie's message seriously that we shouldn't plan for stuff and just take life as it comes? While I recognize the problems with over-planning, this is a terrible, terrible message to send to kids.
No, the movie isn't saying that. It's saying that even if you have plans, you should be open to changing them when something gets in the way. Way to misunderstand a moral lesson.
I see this movie's A113 gag is here, so a few dozen animators across the country can jerk off now.
Sending A113.
You can do whatever you put your mind to.
Another terrible message to send to kids, because that is patently untrue. What if my kid sees this movie and then puts his mind to jumping off a building to fly? Huh?
Really? Please tell me you don't actually think that. I don't even want to explain this stupidity because I feel like it speaks for itself. You know, like me deciding to make this series of videos a regular thing despite me wanting to do other stuff on this channel.